So welcome along to episode 2 of Life Off the Stage with me, Richard Beauvoisin. Had an amazing guest today. We even got interrupted by the gas engineer calling for their appointment halfway through, but we kept it in there. This is real life after all. Anyway, time to get on with it. Episode 2. My guest today is a Sarok teacher, burlesque teacher, hula hooper, cook, and someone, if you look on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see a very varied set of photos, from workouts to Hollywood to quite possibly the scariest vampire I've ever seen in my life. Today on Life Off the Stage is the fabulous Veronika Oliver. Welcome along.
Thank you
It's
for
you.
inviting me.
I did say just in our little pre-warm-up when we were chatting away, when are you getting ready for it? Because you don't look glamorous enough. As you can see, I've dressed up for the occasion in my t-shirt, and you look like a model. So I
Oh,
might
thank
do
you.
my
But
hair
you said
next
it
time.
matched. Look, it's red. I mean, it's red or red, right? And I don't know, you know me well, or maybe I have some kind of telepathic things and know what you're going to wear.
Who
Yeah.
knows? You've got the little rose in the hair and everything. Is it a
Well, you don't
rose?
have a rose in your hair, so it's a bit shame on you, but it will do.
I don't. My hair is perfectly natural, no doubt, as is yours.
Yes,
So,
it is.
yeah. I was looking back on photos actually of some. I posted some recently, and people commented on just how dark my hair was. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
cruel.
may have dyed it for a few years. You never know. Just a few years, and then magically, like Philip Schofield, it went grey overnight. But
Okay, right.
there we go. Anyway, this podcast is all about your life off the stage. We are going to do a bit about you on the stage as well, but we're going to start off with tell us a little bit about where you came from and what your kind of history is.
Right. So many of you probably know that I'm not British, not English. I've had many kind of thoughts and ideas of where I'm from, and it's always entertaining to hear people thinking like, "Where is she from?" So I'm Hungarian, and I came over to England in 1996 when I was 19 years old.
What brought you over here then?
Right. So I've done my A levels in Hungary, and I was going to go to medical university. That was my aim and dream since I was 12 years old, and I failed to get in by 3 measly points.
Oh,
So my plan was to come over to England, learn English to better, good level. Then I do an exam, and an English exam gives you 5 points, and I've been to uni. And then 1 year turned into 2 years of being an au pair, because that's how you always come over at that sort of time. Hungary wasn't part of the EU at the time. And I then decided that actually maybe I won't really go to university. I fell out with my parents at the time, so it wasn't going to happen. And I stayed. And then I met my ex-husband, and we decided we'd stay together. And I changed my au pair visa into a student visa, and I started to study IT instead.
okay.
Total surprise to me, because I couldn't stand computers, or I thought if I press the delete button, it will go up in flames or something along those lines. And he was already a programmer, and he said, "Well, look, you just try and see how you go." So I did an HNC in IT, and took my ducks to water, and then I'm in IT ever since.
So is that what you do for a living now, is it? Because
Yeah.
you're not a full-time Sarok teacher, or you don't. I have the luxury of doing that as well as running the franchise, but very few do. So what is your job then?
So I used to be a programmer for about 7 years. That's how I started, and I went into consultancy by virtue of becoming more of a marketing kind of personnel. But I never left the IT area. So I'm a business analyst and process consultant. And my job is really to gather the requirements from the clients of what they need for their business processes to then put onto a platform that's being implemented.
Because I'll be
So
honest, I was doing lots of, I did mention it to you, stalking of you on the internet. So in in preparation for doing these chats, I literally type in whoever I'm interviewing's name and see what comes up. Now for Paul, there was Paul Brooks, who I interviewed last time. There was somebody that came up, but there was a pastor, which I guessed wasn't him. And there was a variety of different Veronika Olivers, but the main ones that came out all looked very professional. And I was thinking, is that the same person? Rather than the vampire that I've just seen in the previous photograph. And yeah, all of a sudden you became very high and mighty and powerful. And I was like, ooh, this is something I didn't know about you. So yeah, so you've done very well by the sound of it.
yeah, I love my job. I mean, honestly, if I had to change it, it would be going into dancing and teaching, and only that. But I really, really love the fact that I have a total different kind of a persona with work and a different thing to fulfill in teaching in the dancing environment.
So it always makes me laugh. So Dot, who does our cakes, she is the loveliest person in the world. We all love Dot. Okay,
Yeah, and her cakes, yum.
and her cakes, yes, absolutely. I love her as a person. I think she's an amazing person. And then when she turned around to me, and she has just retired, and she turned around and said, when I'm at work, I'm a bit of a tyrant. And I was like, I can't imagine that of you because she's so lovely. So are you the similar type of person at work than you are on stage, or are you quite straight and narrow, or
I
whatever
think
it
I'm other way around. I think I'm quite a tyrant when I'm teaching. I think so many people are actually scared of me, and they told me that they're scared of me. I have no idea why. I don't think I'm necessarily a scary person, just maybe commanding it a bit more and tell them to shush if I'm teaching because it's my show. See what I
I'm
mean?
quite scared of you if it helps.
I don't know if it helps or not. But no, work-wise, I think I'm much the same personality, but not tyrant. I'm definitely not like telling them, and this is how you do what you have to do. I'm quite a chatty one. I think that communication kind of a thing's still there for me for work as well. But no, I'm not a scary one. I'm usually a bend over backwards when it's anything.
Yeah, you seem like a very helpful person, which is always nice. Do you have staff under you, or are you a manager type thing, or how does it
Well,
work?
I do help my peers out, and I do mentoring for others. So I do help out, and I do training sometimes, funnily enough, in my environment of IT. So I provide training courses just as much as consultancy. So it's a lot of talking.
Have you had the pleasure of Zoom over the last year? Then I'm guessing.
Oh, haven't I just used Teams or Zoom or anything else? The only thing I didn't use yet is the string with the tin can kind of a thing, or smoke signals, and you do. Yeah. But thing is, there's not much changed for me because even before the lockdown, I would work from home a lot, so that I would sometimes go and visit clients and then have the meetings face to face. But there were times when I had a client who were in a different country and so far away, it was just not feasible for me to fly out there. And then I would run it over a conferencing tool of choice or whatever that may.
So you love teaching, you love your job. What
Yeah.
else do you love doing then?
What else do I love doing? I absolutely love cooking and baking, as you
I've
mentioned
seen
it
some
earlier.
pictures.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. Absolutely love doing that, and eating, of course.
So what do you
Um,
love cooking then?
Anything. I think the wackier the better for me. I like
Okay.
to kind of find things that are totally off the cuff, a bit totally different, not the usual kind of thing. I get bored with the same old food. I'm not one of those who can make up a recipe or a menu for a week and then always having the same thing or whatever. I have no problem with people who are like that. It's not a judgment pass. I'm just one of those that absolutely love different flavors, and the more the merrier.
So what? So
Especially if
is
it's complicated ones.
so is Hungarian food? I'm guessing Hungarian food is quite different to British food.
Yes.
In
So
in what
yeah,
ways?
they use most of the base of dishes are with onion and paprika. I love
Okay. Hot.
not necessarily because we don't always use the spicy one. We use the mild one.
Okay.
But we have a lot of pork and beef, and they kind of stew things, but it varies. You get really nice, lovely Hungarian foods just don't exist in England. Can't even kind of explain how that is. But they eat a lot of meat, put it that way.
Right.
And they tend to be quite kind of like rich in fatty, really, but
Well,
nice,
I'm
tasty.
vegetarian myself, so I'll bypass on the meat side of it, but it's always the flavors that I'm more interested in because
Yeah,
the
but the thing
meat
is, you
side of it
can.
is kind of the substance that you eat, but the flavor is all sometimes quite different. I know there is flavoring in meat as well, but it's often the flavors you put with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can still create quite a lot of them, and then it's been appreciated a bit more that there's vegans and vegetarians. But back in the days when I got married and we had a wedding in 2000, I have had about 5 friends of mine who were vegetarian, and they came over to Hungary to have the big party. And I specifically asked the restaurant, saying, "Can you make sure there's vegetarian food?" And it's like, "Yeah, it'd be all right." Comes a day, and I'm like, "There's the vegetable soup," and the response was, "Hold on to your trousers, because this is funny. We took the meat out." loads of
Right.
soup after it's cooked,
Yeah.
and then put the vegetables in, was the response.
Because
Yeah.
that's exactly how it works.
Yeah,
And
and
in
they
truth,
fried the vegetables in the same oil they fried the schnitzels in. So yeah, it was like, go vegetarians.
but it's,
So I'd rather not tell them.
I was really surprised when I went to, I drove through Germany a few years ago, and I was flabbergasted going into McDonald's. The variations of vegetarian food in McDonald's in Germany is far greater than we have in the UK. And I found out something like 15% of Germany is vegetarian. It's much more than here. I'm guessing there's not that many vegetarians in Hungary then.
I think it's changed now. I mean, this was like 20 years ago, right? So back
Yeah.
then. But if you go to countryside somewhere, then grandma and grandpa are always going to offer you, like, well, you're too skinny, you need to eat more. And they will try to make you eat. Well, okay, if you cut it up very small, the meat, then it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way, does it? But
No.
yeah, a lot of people don't quite understand the principle of it. But it's also depending on why people are vegetarian as well. Some people are vegetarian for the health reasons, for the society reasons, or whatever it may be. I'm vegetarian because I don't want to eat meat. It's my choice. We were watching a
Yeah.
program the other day, and Zoe said, you know, there was people trapped on a desert island type thing. And she said, "What would you do in this situation?" I said, "I'd eat the rabbit. I wouldn't have even a question about it. It would be done because you need to do that to
Yeah,
survive."
need to
Whereas
eat. Yeah.
I have the choice now not to eat meat, so therefore I don't.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
have
I've
no
grown
problem.
up in a farm and we had lots of animals. So we had a rabbit farm, we had geese, ducks, chicken, pigs, the whole lot. So I went through and yeah, I put my hand up, I've killed them all. And I
Yeah,
learned how to gut them, how to work through them. And I
yeah,
feel like, if you feel comfortable with that, then, go for it, go and eat meat. It's fine.
absolutely.
Um,
I say I have no problem about anybody eating meat themselves. It's, you know, and if you have
and
done,
equally went through like a year when I was non-vegetarian
okay.
and just decided that I don't want to eat meat. And then I didn't. And
So what
it's
was the thing that took you out of being a veggie then?
I don't think I kept the diet very well, which meant that I didn't eat the right kind of proteins. So I should have done a bit more research. So I started feeling really weak and really
Okay.
unwell, and then eventually went away to Scotland on a holiday with my daughter. And on the way back at the restaurant in the airport, I was starving. I was like, I've got to have a burger, and I nailed it, and then that was it.
There you go. I was gonna say, people often talk about bacon sandwiches, don't they? But
No, well, yeah,
I
I
never.
know I can get that, but I don't even eat bacon. So even though I'm non-vegetarian now, I eat anything. I still only eat turkey bacon for some reason. I'm not a keen fan of
Turkey
pork.
bacon. I've never even heard of
Yeah,
turkey
it's
bacon.
like made by medicines. I mean, I'm not obviously being, paid
No?
for this advert here. Um,
Yeah, the
it's
millions of
turkey
people
bacon.
downloading this, they'll be wanting their piece now.
But I don't really eat pork much. I don't know why. It's just don't that doesn't really agree with me for some reason. I'm not a keen fan, so I don't eat pork, and that's what no religious reasons, just not really keen. So
Fair enough. Yeah, Zoe doesn't eat lamb particularly, so yeah, people eat different things, don't they? So as I mentioned in the intro, you do seem to like to do the odd bit of dressing up. So
yes.
where has that come from then? What's that all about?
Right, so this is rooted right into my childhood. In Hungary, we have once a year a big celebration at the end of winter. So at the end of February, basically the last weekend of February, is usually basically scaring the winter away. It's like a celebration that they have. I think it's rooted from back in dark ages, long ago, when people would make these scary masks and they would go outside and scare the winter away. But we had it at school, as in like a dressing up kind of
Okay.
opportunity, a big party. So everyone would dress up, and either they'd given us an idea or we just all dressed up whatever we wanted to. And I remember winning it when I was about 8 years old. I dressed up as shepherd. Had a little sort of a moustache drawn
Okay.
on. My dad had a really nice curvy pipe, had that in my mouth, it tasted disgusting. And he had his coat on, which was inside out, really furry, proper coat, put it on, and like an old hat. And the only thing that would give it away, and I was a girl, I had a little earring in my ears,
Oh,
a little blue flower in there. But yeah, I absolutely loved the dressing up even then. And I went into little productions that we wrote our own selves and dressed up then as an old grandma with flour in my hair to make it look grey. See, some people are trying to look grey, some people don't.
I don't need
That
it.
happens to them naturally. Sorry, don't want to realize
That's
it.
all right.
So I've always loved dressing up, and then what really took it further for me is the fact that I've discovered burlesque quite a few years back, and that gave me the opportunity to then start buying corsets and any excuse to buy really nice outfits for the
Okay.
performance. And that also meant that I had to look into the 40s, 50s sort of hairstyle, face makeup, whatever. Um, and also, I'd always loved Halloween here. So there you go. That's where you're going to start going into the darker side of things, of actually
It does look
vampire.
very dark when you go
Yeah,
dark. It looks
but
very dark.
yeah, my aim is always, I love shocking and surprising people. Whether it's a good shock or a bad shock, I don't care.
Yeah.
Either way will work for me. And I then really start pushing my own kind of abilities and looked into YouTube videos and trying to copy things. So Terminator was one of my favorites and always will be.
Is that the spider one, is it?
No, the Terminator, I don't know if you've seen that one. Spider one's very good as
The
well.
spider one, if you haven't seen the spider one, I'll try and dig it out for some people. But it's literally like the body of the spider on your eye, isn't it? And then the
Yes,
legs
it's
sticking out from there.
climbing.
That
It's like crawling out of your head,
yeah.
basically. Now, I've created that for Medfest for one of their things. It was an A party, anything starting with A, and I thought arachnophobia, that will do me. Um, that's how that came about.
That must have taken
Um,
hours.
do you know what? The prep before it is because making the spider is fiddly one. It's very you would laugh at this, right? I've actually made it out of, you have the cotton wool buds that you use
Yeah, yeah.
for cleaning things. You stick those together to make the leg, and
Right.
then you paint it black, which I painted with nail varnish.
Okay.
And then when you're assembling it, I have a cotton wool pad that you use for cleaning your
Yeah.
eye makeup off. Not that you would, but don't
I
judge me.
wear
I don't know
makeup
what
all
you
the
do on a
time.
Saturday. And painted that black, and then literally put it onto my eye. And then I stuck on the leg one by one by one by one, all the 8 legs to kind of get it on there. Now that's fiddly. And the fiddly problem with it is sticking onto your eye patch is you're using a spirit gum or some other theatrical thing, and it I don't know, it reacts to me a little bit, so I end up with red eyes afterwards, obviously, because it feels like it's just sitting there for ages.
That is dedication.
Yeah, that does take an hour and a half and not comfortable, and it's not the best thing, but I love the look. Whereas Terminator takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to put on, but that's literally like half face ripped
Yeah.
up, and it's like a robot underneath. It's just the painting the robot on takes a long time to
So are
do.
you there in front of the mirror, literally
Yep,
in reverse, doing it yourself? Because
yep.
for those that know me, my drawing skills are not quite the same as my dancing skills. So my 5-year-old daughter has better drawing skills than I do. So if I draw a stick animal or an animal, it looks like a stick animal. And the only difference between my cow and my pig is that the pig has a curly tail. Outside of that, it's not quite the same. So if I did something like that, I'm not sure it would come out quite looking as yours did.
Well, like I said, it's a video. I found the video, I had to do it, and just bit by bit did it. And sometimes it didn't quite work out exactly, but it still looked okay. And then the fiddly bit also is adding in the extra wax things that make it look like you've got peeled off skin. When
Yeah,
you
yeah,
cut
yeah.
your skin up and then putting the blood around it. So I love that. But I've also, I don't know if you've seen the one that I was doing Christmas special. I did like a 12 days of Christmas thing.
Yes, I
And the
did see
first
that.
I've actually worked with a bold cap. I never worked with that. That was
Okay.
brilliant fun to do. To make you look bold, you have to put that
Yeah.
on properly. And I bought the cheap one for that. Doesn't really work. I want it properly done, proper theatrical, and you had to use the hair dryer to get it on, stick it on, and so that was a fiddly one, but so much fun because it looked like I've shaved my hair, which I have not done. I will not.
No, don't shave your hair. It's
No.
lovely. Yeah, we don't want you shaving your hair off. So what's the most daring thing you've ever done then?
Most daring thing I've ever done. Let me just think about this one. I think the most daring thing was coming into England.
Fair enough.
Well, I was 19. I had a one-way ticket on the coach, 27 hours it took to come from Hungary
Wow.
to here. I had £2 in my pocket and no return ticket. And going to the family that I actually went to be with, I never met them before. I
Okay.
phoned them once, and we had a phone discussion. So I was gambling with my big suitcase that they will come and pick me up from Victoria, which they did.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's either daring or stupid, is one or the other, or both. It's a
How
fine
old
line in between.
how old were you at this point?
19.
19, just a couple of years ago then.
Yeah.
For all of us, just 2 years ago.
Brilliant.
At 19, that is that, yeah, because I'm guessing your English wouldn't have been amazing at that point.
No, no. I mean, I studied it in college. I studied Latin, of all things, funnily enough, and English.
Okay.
Those were my two major languages I had to do. In Hungary, it's normal. We have to do that when you're doing A levels. You have to study two languages.
Do you?
Um,
Okay.
but I still couldn't quite speak it. I mean, I could understand probably about what a good 60%, but I had
Right.
to ask people to slow down because you don't speak at the level or the speed that you do when you are just learning. You're a lot
Yeah.
slower. It takes you a while to do. And plus, at the first, you always translate it in your head.
Hmm.
So it takes like almost a year for me. It took that long when I started dreaming in English, not in Hungarian. And that
Okay.
was the point when I thought, okay, well, now I'm no longer translating. I'm like, as it comes, I'll process it in English in the same way back out again. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, languages is not my forte. Again, it ranks alongside my drawing skills. But yeah, I'm not
so what
great at
are your
language.
main skills then? What, I mean, I'm not saying that, oh, so you
But
can't do
yeah,
this,
I'm
can't do
rubbish at
that. It's not
everything. Yeah. Um, my my
that's
main
not how
skills.
I asked.
No, that's all right. I think my main skills, obviously, dancing is. I think I'm not too bad at that. I'm
Right,
also quite into
indeed.
music, playing guitar and doing the odd bit of singing and stuff. But I think,
Singing and
yeah, I
guitar.
know. Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
you should serenade me.
Should I? I'll go
Yeah,
and
you
grab the
should.
guitar.
You should grab the guitar
Yeah,
and give it a
it's
go.
it's not that much in tune at the moment, but yeah, I mean, I used to write quite a lot of music, and
I
so
didn't know
yeah,
that.
that side of stuff. I like writing some short poetry, and I think one of my
Nice.
main skills when I was asking my children the other day about our favourite type of skill sets, and one of my children, the bigger children, not the 5-year-old, she turned around and she said she thinks that the amount that I'm very patient is really, really helpful for everybody. So yeah, I'm a very patient person, so I don't fly off the handle very quickly.
Nice.
So yeah, and therefore I kind of try and make decisions in a very measured way. I don't just kind of jump at something, and so I can sit back and analyze and be very patient. But
Nice. You're
yeah,
so not like me.
yeah. But I also play a lot of sports as well, so which I try and be reasonably not too bad at those. Um,
Nice one. What did you do before you became a full-time stock teacher owner? What was your day job, if you don't mind
So
me
I
asking?
was in the RAF for 6.5 years as an engineer.
Oh,
Did that for a
okay.
while, and then I was a sales manager for 3 years. After that, all the time I was in the RAF and sales manager, I was also a teacher still. And
Wow,
then
okay.
what, 15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I gave it all up and said I'm going to do this full time,
Cool.
which I
Well, good
did.
decision. Hope you're not regretting it
Not
still.
for one
You're doing
second, no.
good.
No, I've had the pleasure over the last year, of course, of not being able to run the business. So I've been working in another company, which I've now stopped,
Mhm.
and it was very bizarre. I'd walk into it and go, I'm so used to running my own company that I'd turn up and I'd go, oh, in my head I'd say this, I wouldn't say it out loud. Oh, if you just did this, and this, then those things might
Big.
work better. But I was at the bottom of the tree, so I couldn't really say any of that type of stuff. Not to start with, anyway. I couldn't keep my mouth shut forever. But yes, that was very, very bizarre. So no, the best decision I ever made was doing this full time, and yeah, I've never regretted it. It's hard work,
I
but yeah,
bet.
you get to do the fun side of it. The fun side
Well,
is the
I have
teaching.
had the chance of throwing in and just being just a full-time teacher or even just get some of the franchise, but I have all the kudos to all the franchise owners. It's so hard work, I
Hmm.
think, with all the marketing thing and all the advertising and all the organizing and chasing and whatnot that you have to do. I wouldn't want to do it. I'm maybe a lazy person, but there's no way.
But
I
then I wouldn't
think
want to do
if
your
I had
job.
to, well, there you go. But like I said, all respect because it's hard work. It feels like you're. For me, I work from 9 till 5:30. Well, thereabouts. People go in and out of it, right? But it feels like when you're a stock world and that's your full-time job, it's never ending. It's like 24/7 because you are on call when you are not on call. So um,
Yeah, standard day would be 8 in the morning until midnight.
yeah,
That's a
exactly,
normal day.
exactly.
It still makes me chuckle when people turn around and say, all you have to do is turn up and teach a dance class. What
Yeah,
do you do during the
right.
day? And you think, you've no idea.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
lot
nice.
of work.
Exactly.
But yeah, now we're on to Ciroc then. Tell me about your Ciroc story then. So where did you start? Who did you
Right.
start with? How long you been going and all of that type of stuff?
So I first come across it in 1998. And that's when aforementioned ex-husband, he was the one who was doing it and dancing it at the Ealing venue, the original one that was taught by Mr. Cronin,
Yeah, James Cronin.
James Cronin.
Yep.
So I went to that class, and we very much liked it and enjoyed it, but because it was on a day then he was playing football, which just made it a bit difficult. We had to drive at that point, so we kind of dropped it for a couple of years. And then in 2000, that's where Annalise and Martin opened up this Rock Surrey venue in Surbiton, and she was doing a busking session in Kingston, which
Okay.
my ex-husband realised, I'd been noticed, and picked up a flyer. And then we started going to the Surbiton venue, which was like 10 minutes drive, not like a half an hour drive. So we were lucky in London, there were so many venues to attend. So that's why I started, and I kind of stuck with it. And I think I became a taxi dancer by a couple of years
Mhm.
down the line, even less than that.
So how did you find all the audition process and teaching
Oh,
courses and stuff?
okay. So this is something not many people know. I failed my first rock teacher exam.
No.
I have.
Who failed
Um,
you?
well, so it was, I don't know if you know
Yeah, yeah, I know Big
George,
G.
she was
Yeah.
the head of dance at
I,
the time.
I went through
They,
training with George.
so they failed me on a couple of things. Apparently my style wasn't quite right in terms of clothing, of all things.
Okay.
The shoes didn't go match with the trousers I was wearing, but it wasn't the case of, well, what shoes I'm wearing is like, that's the only dancing shoes I have. So, and I didn't like to dance in skirt, never have. Um, and um, and the other thing was mostly probably because I was nervous. They said that my accent came through really strongly,
Okay.
and they were worried that I would just go really pack it in on the stage, and I couldn't handle the heat of it.
Okay.
um, Even though I was a taxi dancer by then, but maybe I was flustered on the day. I don't know. It was a hard day. I think Paul mentioned that before as well, and the whole workout for the beginning,
Yeah.
having to do coordination up and down crazy, and then having a bit of a chat of why I want to be a stroke teacher, and then all day long you're broken down. I mean, you know it. You
I
get up
do.
there, do a
As
bit of it, and then come back out, do it again and again.
yeah.
It was an exhausting day, but exciting day.
This is the
So
audition, isn't it? Not the actual course.
no, the audition.
Yeah, yeah.
So after that, a few months down the line, Annalise Martin was still pushing and trying to get in touch with Georgia, and she came down to see me actually teach a Ciroc teaching class, not like the taxi
Mhm.
class, and also see me how I am. Literally that was it. She said, "Okay, well, you're all right. Let's do another one," and then they let me go through that one, and
Oh.
I became a teacher.
And then you had the pleasure of
Got
the
to
course.
stop because I've
Oh,
got a call.
oh. So for those that don't know, and we'll come back to this, this is the gas engineer.
Hi there. Are you? Yes, I am. Okay, brilliant. Thanks. Cheers. Bye. 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 That's okay. He'll be in 40 minutes, so that means we can carry on.
This is live interviewing. We're just going to leave that in.
Okay.
There's the gas engineer for you. So
Yay,
yeah, the
indeed.
wonders of Zoom at home. It really is. So we've got 40
Yes.
minutes. We'll be finished
Yeah.
before then. You'll be
Get
fine.
on.
So just answer the questions quickly. So so presumably George took your course as well, then, did she?
No, it was
No.
that Saffron.
Oh,
Saffron taught
Saffron.
me.
Oh, lovely.
Saffron, and also my namesake, Richard Oliver.
Good old Richard.
There's a funny story there. You will ask him, or anyone ask him, he'll still laugh at me, and he still remembers it fondly on my actual day when he had to do the exam. I decided, I've already started liking corsets back then, that I would wear a really nice corset with a pair of jeans because I thought, yeah, rock me, oh,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
great. Which was great, except it was having problems with breathing because it
Oh,
was
okay.
constricting. So I was teaching, was I kept talking like this, and he was just absolutely laughing his head off. And I didn't think it was anything, problematic. But of course, I was probably breathing because I was excited and nervous and whatever else. Plus that, it's just all added it all up. And yeah, he was absolutely yeah, in tears and laughter afterwards, and he keeps, mentioning it to me even now. And that was 2004, and he still remembers it. It's like, great, thanks for that.
So was that back at the dance attic, was it, or were we in
Yeah,
the dungeon? You're
yeah.
at dance attic. Must have been one of the last
No, not
courses.
dance. I think that's where my audition was
Okay,
twice. But the actual thing was at the studio. Is it
at the Iron Studios.
Iron Studio? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's why we stayed there on site.
Oh, did you?
The last night, I think I did. Every day I was commuting because it was a 6-day course back then
Yeah.
to do the beginner's course.
Yep.
And on the 6th day, you're literally doing your exam, and then on the 7th day, nobody works because it's the it's a Bible, as I said. Um, don't
I'm
ask.
not sure
That's
that's
random.
why the reason,
Um,
but yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so I stayed this Friday night. I think we all stayed there, and yeah, we had our exams, and yeah, that was really hard stuff. I mean, if anyone ever asked me which was the hardest course I've ever had to do, and this is talking about work course as well, because I have had to do like a 6-day course. By far, the Ciroc is the hardest I've ever had to do. So
Yeah.
don't underestimate the Ciroc teachers, because we have to go through hell. And
Yes.
if you pass even the entry exam, then pretty much guaranteed you're going to pass the course, because that is so intense as well.
Yeah. No, it is. But
Like,
that's what I love about Sirocco, in that you do get put through the mire, that's for sure.
yeah,
But you come out the other end as a good quality teacher.
yes, because
The
you prep
most,
so much for it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just, you can't fail really, because it's drilled into you so well. Yeah,
Yeah, and it means that what we're then able to give everybody is a really good quality night, and a
yeah,
good quality of teaching, and we know what we're doing, and when you're on stage, you're then able to be very professional, which I love about it. So it does make it much easier. So what do you think makes a great Ciroc teacher then? Because you are, I've seen you teach. I think you're a fantastic teacher.
oh, thank you.
So what do you think makes a great Ciroc teacher?
I think as a rock teacher, you don't just need to be a teacher, you need to be an entertainer, because people turn up and they're not there during the day, they're there to usually have a bit of fun. And so it's not like a day course when you have to just listen and do exactly as you're told. It's more like people pay their hard earned money to have a bit of fun, enjoy the night, and along learn dancing as well. And I think I'm a firm believer in this. If you make it fun and make it hooking with some silly jokes, innuendos, whatever they be, they will sink in a lot easier. So that means people don't just have a great time, have a giggle, but they also get to learn and get to dance. But I think also you need to be really engaging with people. So it's not just you performing on stage and off you go afterwards, sit in a corner or have a cup of tea or whatever else. It's kind of like you have to go through integrating into the textile of the whole night, if you like, and make most of it and dance with everyone, having a chat with people, especially so many nervous people out there. They come out best, and they really worked up the courage over weeks and months to come out, and they don't know anybody. If you have a teacher that comes up to me, and I was the beginner, I would be absolutely thrilled. And that's probably one of the reasons why I actually did stick with it back in 1998, because I had that, not just from the teachers, but from the people. They were so welcoming. You felt like, wow, so I might not be great or might be a complete beginner, but the people want to dance with me, want to be here. So you want to come back.
So who
So I
was your
think
first teacher? Do you remember who went?
it was James Cronin.
I was changing. Of course, you
Yeah,
mentioned earlier, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah.
I
The,
never
the,
saw
the
him
very
teach
first one.
actually.
Yeah. He had these funny braces and things that he was wearing. It was really cool and full of charisma. And it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, James and Janie were the original people that started off Ciroc back in the mid 80s. And yeah, they ran it as a husband and wife duo for many, many years. And yeah, Jamie was my teacher trainer. I was her last course back in the day in
Wow.
1842. Um,
1842
it seems that long ago
ages.
anyway. But yeah, but yeah, I had my most embarrassing moment on stage actually with Jamie, or Janie, I should say, not Jamie. In regards, it was at Fulham Town Hall, and she'd asked me to demo for her, and I was living in Oxford at the time, and I travelled in, and I got stuck in traffic, you name it, so I turned up really, really late, and we didn't have time to go through the beginners class. I just did that. That was fine. And then you got the 10 minutes in between the beginners and
Oh yeah.
intermediate session. and we went through the intermediate moves in super quick style. There was 250 people there that night, and at the beginning of the whole thing, she went, "Right, let's demonstrate the whole thing then." And I just stood there and had absolutely no idea what it was, none at all. And she completely backled me, and it was horrific. If I'm honest, I've never been so embarrassed in my entire life.
Oh.
So yeah, I was, because I just didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, what's been your most embarrassing moment on stage? Now I've shared mine.
Okay. This is quite embarrassing. So I've decided to buy a really nice dress, and I don't usually dance in dress, and this is another reason why I no longer really do. And it was like a 50s thing, so this really opening skirt, the nice big spinny skirt.
I don't want to be ahead of you here, but carry on.
Okay. And unfortunately, I made a really stupid mistake of wearing the wrong kind of underwear to go with it, if you know what I
Okay.
mean.
Just
And
up the backside type of
yes,
underwear.
basically, covers not much.
Yep.
And the horrifying kind of realization dawned on me quite thankfully before the class started, because I've arrived quite close and to like 20 minutes before the actual thing started. And I was like, what am I going to do? If it was a low stage, it would have been okay, but the stage was already a meter and a bit above, so it would have been an easy upskirt opportunity. So I just ran out to the shop, and I could just about find some thread and some needles, so I could kind of stitch the skirt a bit
Oh, okay.
together in bits so that it wouldn't open up so much. Unfortunately, during the class, stitches started to come up. And I could see man like sloping lower and lower.
Oh,
I was like, no, this is not happening.
that's a
So yeah,
horrible
that
thought.
was probably the worst thing and lesson learned. Yeah, yeah, that was one of them. Probably
I
had some other ones. I mean, usually it's just like Paul. I tend to dig myself into ground and the hole when I'm starting innuendos, or if I don't even mean to, and I say something and I just go, "What did I just say
It
there?" And
definitely seems
everyone's
to be a common.
laughing.
The Sirocco innuendo. I'm going to rename it as Sirocco innuendo because I think we all go down that line, and I'll rephrase that another
That's
time.
the thing.
But yeah, it seems to happen a lot that people just say innuendos, and then people start giggling,
Yeah.
and you're like, "What have I just said?" And it's worse if you don't realise what you said actually, and then you say it again and again and again, and then people are just in fits of laughter, and then you're there, and it's almost like there's a joke in the room, but you don't know what the joke is.
I
But
think
yeah,
there's a move, and you say sort of go like front, side, back, side. At least that's one. That's an easiest one. It's keeping
I've never
clean.
thought of the backside
But
moment.
I have been there through that plenty of times.
Yeah.
Not in the backside, but as in saying it. But there you go. Throw it more.
No, I'm trying. Zoe is incredibly good at doing innuendos, and she has no idea that she's doing it most of the
Oh,
time. So bless her cotton socks. And I'm often, if I'm teaching with her, I'm in fits of laughter myself. She's just looking at me, going, "What is it? What have I said now?" So bless her cotton socks. So, what's your favourite style? So you teach hula, you teach burlesque, you
yeah.
teach Sarok dancing or general partner dancing. Which is your favourite and why?
Oh dear me. Um, that's a hard one
I
because I
know.
like them for different
I,
reasons.
I am a hard investigative I can't even say it.
Clearly, digging.
Very, very demanding interviewer. I really am. Or not.
Um, gosh.
So what do you love
Um,
about hula hooping then?
right. Hula
Because
hooping
I
for
can't
me.
hula hoop. I'll put it out
You
there.
should come to my classes.
Well,
You should
that's
learn.
if I did that, I would be able to. You're right.
There you go. No one's born with it. So hula hooping was a self-inflicted silly thing that came out of being on to a lot of the Facebook groups, and someone posted up like, "Oh, look at this dancing lady who does dancing moves and choreography with hooping." I was like, I remember I used to do hula hooping. I'm sure I can still remember it. So I bought myself a really expensive power hoop, really heavy one, weighted one that's
Right.
supposed to be for core workout. And I just started and I just did my own silly choreography. That's when I realized that I could still hoop. Ha.
Hmm.
And I posted that up for a laugh. And then people said, "Oh God, you should do this. You should teach us." It's like, maybe I should. And that's how it went.
Ah,
Literally got into it and absolutely love it. So I don't just teach the basics for like 15 minutes. I then go into choreography, which was great because
okay.
it's pushing me in a different way to have to come up with choreography to music and songs.
Yeah.
And then teach that. And by the end of the class, we're doing it. And it's a workout and a half. I mean, if you think this is an easy one, whoa, think again. I'm absolutely drenched by the end of it.
So I know
Um,
we tried with so Beatrice had a hula hoop, our 5-year-old,
mhm.
and we tried to hula hoop with that, and then realised that because it's only that big, it's not quite so
Not
easy, and it
gonna,
needs to
no.
be a bit bigger. So
Yeah.
certainly with my hips, that's for sure.
So
So
in case you are looking to buy a new hoop, you need to have it as tall as your belly button or just below when it's
okay,
standing on the ground. So for your height, it
uh,
has to be at that height. Otherwise, you're really going to struggle.
yeah,
So,
this came up to about my knee.
well, yeah, then you will
So
struggle.
it's pretty much just like a corset for me, if I'm honest with you. So so, so yeah, burlesque. That's something that very few people teach. Then, so talk
Now,
about that.
burlesque, that's another thing. So that I came across, that's difficult to tell. I think probably 8 years ago, something like that. Well, I knew about that even before that. That's when I really started taking classes and learning it. And I was part of a little group of performers. We had shows every other month, and I had plenty of private bookings. So many times I was just performing as part of that group, like 3 or 4, maybe 10 of us maximum. And then I started doing it on my own as well. I have had a few little bookings, and I remember offering it back. Actually, I was offering burlesque many, many, many years ago, but I think at the time this rock kind of people were not ready for it, probably. And I think the assumption was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna get my kit off and whatever else, which I don't do, as you probably know. And then a few years back, I've offered it by chance to teach it at MetFest. I was going there on a holiday, so it
Okay.
wasn't a part of the teachers, but I said to Tim, look, I'd like to offer a class for free as part of the fun thing if you think it would go down well. And he advertised it, and then very soon as I put up that the girls are welcomed, I had a guy message me on WhatsApp like, "What about boys? Why can't we have a go?" It's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I bet you can." So I then decided to run 2 classes, one for the girls, one for the boys. So we
And that's
had a burlesque
am I,
and we have a
I
boylesque.
was going to say, is it called boylesque? I love
It
the
actually
name.
is called boylesque.
Yeah.
Not my naming. It has actually kind of been around. It's not my invention of the naming. Um, and it is a thing. And then ever since that went so well, then I did it again next year. And then Michael Art said, look, we really like it. Let's put it on the weekenders. And been doing that on the weekenders ever since. And absolutely love it. There's just nothing better than having the girls pitted against the boys performing in the pubs. It's not just the class that you
Yeah.
do. You actually do a performance in the evening on the Sunday at the pub. And it's a hoot. It's absolutely brilliant to have all those people coming and joining and having a right giggle. And I think it's not so much just the show off of it, although that's obviously part of it, but the amount of ladies who came up and said, my goodness me, you've given me such body confidence. I feel
Mm.
so much better. And many of the moves are still applicable even in rock because they are extension of a lady's styling, if you like.
Yeah.
You know?
It's moving the body, isn't it, in a certain way?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think that's a brilliant thing to do. It really is. So yeah, and Ciroc teaching, you obviously been doing that a long time, and I say
Yeah.
I love watching you teach.
Well, thank you. I
It's
absolutely love that. You know what? It's such like an instant kind of a satisfaction feeling because you see people who never danced before. They turn up, and by the end of the class, because of the way we structure rock, the way it works, they're just dancing with those moves that you taught them, and it's just a brilliant feeling.
yeah.
Especially when come and have a dance with you, and at first you see them nervous. You have someone who's holding your hand and the hands are shaking like that whilst they're dancing with you because they're so scared of you. And then a few weeks down the line, they are coming back and they're dancing, or even months down the line, they're competing. I even have a couple of teachers used to be my demos, or even one of them I know who came to my class very first time around. I remember
Oh,
him, and then he's now a
who
teacher,
was that then?
Ben Davies.
Oh, lovely, the lovely Ben.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a lovely band indeed, and he was my demo as well for a long time.
oh, very nice. Well, part of being a teacher is, of course, music. So I'm
Oh
going to
yeah.
ask you 3 questions regarding music now, okay? And we'll play the bit of music and see what you think about it. So the first question is, what is your favorite song to dance to then?
Favorite song to dance to is called "Never Be Like You" by Flume.
Never be like.
Um, it's a very unusual song in terms of, well, I don't know. It's not your usual kind of smooth or kind of samey kind of sort of tracks. It's got a lot of broken beats and
I
then
have
just
listened to it, and it's unusual. That's definitely the word. Let's have a little quick listen to it.
okay.
So yeah, it is definitely different. That's for sure.
But
It's,
I love musicality, as you know, and
yes.
I love the little nuances and things and unusual kind of beats that you can hit if you know the song well enough. And this kind of gives you everything that you could ever ask for, wish for, if you are liking to do expressive dancing. And
I am definitely next time we're around together at a venue going to play that song and try and have a dance with you to it.
please.
'Cause I think it would challenge me to the nth degree as well. It really will. So yeah, so that's your favorite song to dance to, and
Yep.
it's always very difficult, that question, because people ask me that question all the time. Like, depends on what type of mood I'm in, but also because we dance so much, often a song that you really love, you get a bit sick of, and then you'd move on to another song as well. So it's always, I appreciate at this moment in time, a very difficult one. But what's your favorite song to listen to then?
Very similar to this one. I mean, these two are actually crossovers, right? So the other song was I've forgotten the name.
Aerocloud.
Surface. That's the one. Surface by Aerochord.
Let's have a little
Um,
listen to it.
yeah.
See, I don't know if I played the right part of it then or not, but
Yeah, it's a good enough part. That there's the beauty about that song. It again goes into very different sections. So that
okay.
section was the comfy one, and then it goes into very crazy, broken into pieces kind of music.
So why that
Um,
type of music then?
um, I think because I've never liked songs that were predictable, just samey patterned. Nothing wrong with it. I danced to them and I enjoyed them. But I've always liked the kind of very unexpected little, oh wow, I didn't see
Mm,
that coming. Um, as you know, when it comes to musicality, some things can be quite predicted, and we
mhm.
usually kind of know the structure.
Yep.
And then there's some things you just go, whoa, where did that come from? Oh, I
Yep.
like that. I like being surprised as much
I
as
mean,
I
I
like
think of
surprising people. Same for me.
Billie Eilish and Bad Guy, for instance. It's quite a
Mm,
normal song, and then it just goes slightly crazy
yeah,
towards the end.
yeah.
That type of thing. I could imagine you
I
would
like
very,
a lot
very.
of energetic stuff, but I don't mean speedy necessarily. So I don't
Mhm.
mean necessarily the mainstream, the main room music, but
Yep.
has a built up, pent up energy that you can go pow off and explode over.
So, what about a
That's
song that's had the most impact or strongest memory in your life, and why?
wow. Now that's "Cry to Me" by Solomon Burke.
Let's have a
Um,
little listen.
When your baby leaves you all alone.
Again, an amazing song.
oh, it is.
And
It is.
Right.
So I know it's not quite predictable, well, not like the others were.
Slightly
Right.
different
So
to the other
this,
two.
yeah, this is a bit easier to dance to. Right, so this one comes right back to my young teenage years. I absolutely loved dirty dancing, but probably most dancers here will know and they love it, and they might think, oh, it's a cliche. Except I was the one that was watching the video of it, that videotape, the original English version, so it wasn't even Hungarian.
Okay.
And I was probably about 13, 14 at the time. And for that 2 or 3 years or so, I looked like baby. I had my hair
Ah,
permed. Um, I was into the dancing inside out, upside down. I was watching the film every single day, and I had my favorite bits that I would wind to
yeah, yeah.
watch. And this was obviously their first ever love scene at the beginning, which I was like, raging with hormones and absolutely not the dancing. And it was like, oh, it was so exciting, brilliant. And I've been obviously even learned the last dance, which is not the song, obviously, that's the time of our life,
Mhm.
that one. But I've always wanted to dance to this song um, once I've got into rock. And nobody really played it back then. And they would have the time of your life, that kind of thing, but not really the Solomon Burke and Cry to Me. And then one day I've turned up at Ealing, I think it's Ealing Town Hall, and there was a dance, and the song came on. And I've danced with an amazing dancer. and I came off that dance floor, feel like I want to have a cigarette and a cold shower, and I don't smoke. So there you go. It's exactly, it was like, yes, it's what I always wanted.
Oh,
And ever since, I still very much love dancing to that tune, because it just brings back the film, and I pretend to be, I know it's really like a teenage girl I'm talking about now, but there you go.
well, that film is why I'm here now talking to you.
Oh,
So
excellent.
yeah, for those that don't know, it's been on my bio a few times. But yeah, I watched Dirty Dancing similar age 13, 14. I'm just 21 again, and yeah, I wanted to be Patrick Swayze.
Oh,
I wanted to be a dance teacher full time, and I get to live my dream every day and teach people to dance, and I am incredibly lucky to do it. I still
brilliant.
don't quite have. There's still the moment where she takes his t-shirt off and he's standing there just with his chest, and I always remember going, "I'll have a body like that one day." Apart from having a lot more hair than he's got, or had, I should say. I haven't quite ever quite got the six pack in exactly the same
Let's
way,
see.
but
Let's
I'm
see.
still working on it a day by day
I
basis.
don't think
But
you're kind of, you'll get there, one day, one day.
yeah, I
It's
have had
hard
in my
work to get
life.
there.
I have had in my life six pack twice. Twice I've had in my life a six
Nice. And
pack.
we don't
But
talk about beers, right?
no, not so
No,
much.
the actual.
So no,
It's hard work to keep that up though, because you've got
yeah,
a very low fat percentage in your body, and you have to have a very specific diet, and well, it's a hard one to hold. So,
yeah. So I
but
haven't.
have you ever taught on that big tree, the fallen tree that they're dancing, or have you done that scene with anybody?
I haven't taught on that. No.
No, we need
I,
to find one.
I did walk across a tree recently, similar to that, and the scene did come back to that. The scene came back to my mind, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, no, I love that film myself. If that's the film I have to watch ever again, that would be the one.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, I
I
think I
still think
agree.
I still think one of my favourite moments in it is right in the very last scene where the old ladies are sat there and they've all got their cardigans on, and she just
Yeah,
goes
and they just fry off and they start dancing.
and off they go. It's that for me is just kind of that is almost Ciroc. Not saying that all Ciroc people are that age, but kind of that feeling of, do you know what? I'm just going to get up and dance. I
Yeah,
don't care about anybody else.
yeah,
So yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a brilliant film, and there's nothing wrong about being inspired by Dirty Dancing. It's not corny. It is the correct
exactly,
answer.
exactly.
Absolutely correct answer. We are
Well,
nearly
I'm
done. Oh,
glad
God.
they took out some of that there were some scenes that were never made it into the film. I don't know if you
Okay.
ever seen that and find that. I'm glad they took them out, because
Which
that
one?
went just a little too far. It went a bit too sexual for me.
Oh, did it?
Um, yeah, you look it up,
Oh,
you find it.
I will look. That
Look
sounds
up.
wrong, but I'll look it up.
It is a bit wrong, I know, but the suggestive dancing that they have in there,
Okay.
obviously, it's gone a little bit more. And in fact, you can find a video on the reel on when they were trying to do the audition or some bits and
Hmm.
practice, and that was going a bit like,
Okay.
whoa,
And did you know
crazy.
that Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze didn't genuinely get on?
I know
They
they,
didn't.
they didn't,
That scene where
and
they're doing the bit going down there, that's him properly hacked off with her.
yes, and
So
they were not going to leave that in, but she was genuinely ticklish, and
yeah,
yeah, he was just really, you could see the proper annoyed face. He was
yeah,
like,
no, he was
I
properly hacked off. So
know.
yeah, we'll have to have a Dirty Dancing get together. We did do it once. Oh no, it's watching Strictly at a weekender. We put up a big sheet and we all set up the seats outside to watch it. But maybe we'll do a Dirty Dancing big sheet on a projector moment at a
Nice. I
weekender
think
coming up.
Alex and Emma, they did an actual
Yeah,
showcase. They actually
yeah,
did
they did.
that dancing thing, if I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
Many moons ago. But no, that
yeah.
is the correct answer. I love Dirty Dancing. So we're
Brilliant.
on to the quick fire round. Okay, so
Oh,
I'm going to ask
dear me.
every person's going to get the same questions just to finish off. Quick fire. You have to answer them reasonably quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so are you ready? Favorite ice cream?
Utter peanut butter clutter. That's by Ben and Jerry's. Absolutely love that. It's
Good.
peanut
Can you
butter.
say that three times really quickly?
Utter peanut butter clutter. Utter peanut butter clutter. Utter peanut butter clutter.
Wow, you're good. Very
Very,
good. Are you judging by your room at the moment? I think I know the answer, but are you clean or messy?
very clean.
It looks it. You look immaculate. Yes, I am equally very, very clean. Love or hate roller coasters?
Love to hate them. I love them and hate them at the same time.
You love and you hate them.
Yeah, I love them because they are so fun and brilliant, and I hate them because I leave my stomach behind as we go, and I go, oh, I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's all
Same
good.
reason I don't like acceleration in cars. I'm like, ah! Oh, okay.
Excluding social media, What's the phone app you use the most?
Fitbit.
Fitbit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Checking every day. How did I sleep? How was my heart rate?
Okay.
Sad
So,
like that. I
so you
like
will know the answer to this question. What is your resting heart rate?
that. About 53,
Oh,
50.
very low.
Yeah.
That means you're fit. Wow.
Yes.
Coffee or tea?
Yeah, coffee, especially in the morning. That's why I'm buzzing now. Otherwise, herbal tea.
Otherwise, fair enough. Favorite TV program?
Black Mirror.
Oh,
Absolutely love
we
that.
watched
Such
a
a
few of
wacky
those.
one.
It was bizarre.
I loved it, but I loved Twilight Zone when I was young and very little. Somehow I managed to see these things
Yeah.
by chance. But yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Okay. Very good. And if you came back in your next life as an animal, which one would you be and why?
I'd be a cat.
A cat.
Because I'm independent, I'd be fed. I could just run out and do whatever I want, and then when I come back, if I want to be stroked, I let them stroke me. If I don't,
That
I
just
just
sounds
go
wrong. Let's move on
away.
from that moment. Sorokin Innuendo Bingo is back. There's many more lines I could go down, but I'm really stopping right now.
Okay. Well, can I return the favour and ask you something?
Of course you can. Go for it. I know Paul did this to me. It doesn't mean everybody has to, but go for it. Go on.
Okay.
These aren't
Cool.
prepared. I've no idea what these questions are.
Okay. Cool. Right. Gardening or DIY?
Oh, I'm rubbish at both. Well, that's what Zoe would say.
Rather
Gardening.
gardening.
Yeah.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury, definitely.
Okay. Walk or cycle?
Walk. You could talk more.
Okay. Holiday or hot or cold destination?
Love both. Definitely hot though.
Okay. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Okay. And if you could travel in time, would you rather go to the future or the past?
I would rather go to the future because I think in 100 years' time we're going to be living in a very different world and I'd love to see it.
Oh, that'd be
But I
great.
have challenged my daughter, my eldest daughter. She might be going into genetics. It might be the area she's going into. I don't personally think this is much of an ask, but I've always believed that by the time that I get to the point where I might be leaving this planet, that they'll have created a cure for everything. So I've basically challenged her with creating a cure for fixing every part of my body that might fail. I don't think that's much of an ask of a child. I really don't.
No, I think you're very
But
reasonable.
basically, she's got to stop her father from dying.
Yeah, exactly. No pressure whatsoever.
None in the slightest. None in the slightest. Is that the end of your questions?
Right, last one.
Oh, go on.
If you would have a rewind button or a pause button on your life, which would you rather have?
Oh, rewind, pause.
Pause.
Yeah, just to give me, as I said earlier, I like having time to think, and sometimes I might go into the wrong mode and not think clearly. So if I could pause other people and then just work out what I'm
That'd be
going
nice,
to
wouldn't
do,
it?
just walk around and make a
What a
cup of
mute
tea,
button.
a mute button. I'm a married man. I can't comment on that. A
Zoe's
mute
not going to
button.
listen to this, is she?
No, never.
No chance.
No, she has listened to the first one, but no, that would be quite nice. Yeah, pause buttons. Give me more time to think about what the right thing is to say. There you go. Or then a rewind button, I suppose, and you could not say the wrong thing in the first place.
I
What
don't
about
know.
you?
Would you want to relive it? But you can always relive it, right? You can always just think about that and go,
Yeah.
it's nice
What would you
thing.
do? A rewind or a pause button then?
For some reason, I still would want to go with the rewind.
Fair enough.
There are some things I would love to repeat again and do again. I don't know.
No, that's all good. Well, we're going to end it there because you've got a British gas engineer coming round, which is vitally important,
Yeah.
and I think we rabbited on for long enough. So today you have been an amazing guest, Veronika. Thank you ever so much for coming along, and we'll see you on the dance floor very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard.